From this, know that it's over. And we got down there and we waited another 24 hours down there before a train come through. But as the train come through and pulled up, we looked at one of the big, they were 12 foot high, these stacks of wood. Jap officer standing on the top of us and he saluted us as we were getting on the, I can all remember that, getting on there. He hadn't been bad on that camp, this Jap officer, but he saluted us as we, I don't know where he come from, but just on the, when the train pulled up, yeah, I can still see him standing there.
What was he like? Was he young?
Who, the Jap?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were more of the younger type. The only time we struck the older ones was at Yee, and they looked like, you know, like our ones we left behind, either home guards sort of thing. That's what they were like there. But no, the others were all, and the Koreans, well, they had a lot of Korean guards, and they were the biggest bastards under the sun, the Koreans. Like you've heard about, no about, the boy bastard, or the boy legitimate, as the priest called him, the boy legitimate, yeah.
Now that you've just jogged my memory on a matter, what about chaplains? Did you have any contact with any chaplains on
Yes, they were there, but, well, they never worried us much, or you know what I mean, never tried to force any church parades or anything like that on us. Well, they couldn't, the Japs wouldn't allow it anyway. But they'd come round, I think they were there for anyone who wanted them.
But what about when people died and were buried?
Yeah, there was always someone there, I don't know, as I say. At the 55 kilo camp, down at the end of our hut was where they used to cart the bodies past to bury them. And we used to have bets of, you know, cigarette butts or something like that as to how many would go out tomorrow morning. And then be 3 or 4 down on the line, someone said, oh, bloody old Bill down there, I think he's stuffed. He'll be gone tonight, so we'd bet a cigarette butt on it, you know, whether he go tonight or last another night.
Yes, yeah.
It seems pretty horrible, I know, but
yeah.
We used to do that.
You were confronted with it all the time.
Yeah, just sort of betting on it. Yeah.
So you boarded the train. Was there any difficulty in getting on the train? Were there lots of other people on it when you went south?
No, there's no one, because there's no one further back into Burma than us. We were the farthest into Burma. You know, near the Three Brigade Pass, there was no POWs that we knew of any further that way. We had been sent right back to this end camp.
Yes.
And then, no, there's no one on it.
Yeah.
No one on it. And we kept stopping at different stations and that, and of course everyone would say, you know, the boons would be on the platform and say, war over, you know what they're like. Yeah, you know, they say yes to everything you said. And who would say to me, there you are, I told you it's over, he said it's over, he said it's over. And that's right, and he flogged his blanket then to get some cigars or something to eat. And he said, you going to flog your blanket? I said, no, I've hung on to it all this time, and I said, what I can get for it now, I'm going to keep it just in case we're still here in the next cold weather. So I hung on to mine, you know, all the time. My blanket had the one blanket. I did make a wogger out of it. I managed to get it onto an old sugar bag, spread that out and sewed them together to make it a bit thicker. But I had that one blanket all the time.
So where were you issued with that?
That's what, when we were taken prisoner. Yeah, we had it. Oh, we had a couple of blankets there.
Yeah, so did you bring that one from Australia, or were you issued with it in
look, it could have been from Australia. It's the one we had in the army anyway, and we finished up with
it's just that, one fellow actually remembered the brand.
Yeah, no.
This was an Onka Paringa.
Oh, right, no, it was just a blanket.
And there, where did you go to down south? Did you go to Tamakan? Did you go right through to Bangkok?
No, it was another place, a base camp. It wasn't Bangkok.
Non-Competent?
I think it might have been there.
There was a big hospital
but
camp.
I know that's where the Yanks were dropping a lot of food in by parachute. And they dropped a battalion of Gurkhas in, for guards. And they put the Gurkhas on guard with the Japs in their camps. They only lasted a week. There's too many Japs being killed. They would find them in the morning with their throats cut. As soon as the Japs went outside for a piddle or something like that, Gurkha, so they had to drag the Gurkhas away. And that was, I'm not sure of the name of that camp. And from there we went by truck then down to Bangkok. And that's where then they took us there a few at a time out to the airstrip where the plane we were going on, old Dakota of course, our DC-3, and she was like this, one wheel had collapsed, so we had to wait for them to fix that up. And then they took half an hour to start and stop, and we got to fly down to Singapore in this. And one poor bugger, I'll never forget him, there were bench seats all along the side, and he sat there like this. And he looked straight ahead, like that, all the way down to Singapore. Talked to him, he would take no notice of it, he was just absolutely petrified. He sat there all the way. And they had a job to get his hands off the seat when we landed to get him out. I wasn't happy the way the plane was, and they were getting the engine going. And then the way they fixed the wheel up, I thought, well, we've got a landing aid on this, hope it holds up, but no. We got down there just before they brought in those nurses from Banker Island, just before they brought them in, because someone said, what's all the kerfuffle over there? They said, they just brought in a heap of nurses from out on one of the islands, but no one's allowed over there, and that happened to be them, with Sister Bullwinkle and that crowd. Yeah. So that was back to Singapore again. And then of course the Indian truck drivers that were supposed to get us round to the naval base to catch the, not the flying boats, the, what are the other flying, Catalinas. The Catalinas were bringing stuff into Singapore, but they left on time, and if you were around there, they had a load of POWs, they'd take them back. And the bloody driver got lost getting round there, so next thing we see 6 Catalinas taking off that we were supposed to be on. So we had another 6 or 8 days in Singapore before they put us on the Highland Chieftain then, and took us round, stopped off at Darwin, then round to Brisbane. Yeah, that's where one of our chaps, he went ashore there at Darwin. We weren't supposed to, but he went ashore. He was home before us, because I was another 2 or 3 weeks before I got home. He had a week in America. Yeah, he got onto some Yanks there, and they said, "Guy, we're heading back for the States, you know." He said, "Why don't you come back with us?" He went back. He said, "I got nothing. You don't need nothing. You come with us." They said they treated him like a bloody king. Bought anything he wanted, took him everywhere. And then the next plane was coming back, so took him back to Australia in the next plane. And he beat us home then. And he had a few days in America. No, I couldn't get home quick enough. Couldn't get home quick enough.
Were there any officers on the line that you recall, either for good reasons or bad reasons?
Well, most of them, well, everyone's got their own personalities, and everyone doesn't like everyone else. And no, most of them were good. We had some, our own CO, we didn't like him because at the finish there at Firestone Park we were dug in. He ordered a truck loaded with ammo, parked on the top of the hill. It was right near where we were dug in a slit trench there. And when the driver got out, I said, "What are you doing with that thing there?" Because the planes were coming over treetop height, and you could see the buggers out the side looking at you and throwing hand grenades out. Apart from the fact they'd turned the artillery onto us too, but we had artillery down around on the edge of some tennis courts on the edge of a park down there, and they said, "Lewis told us to put it up here, you can't put it down near the artillery." I said, "No, well, put it up here." I said, "Where's Lewis?" They said, "I think he's over in that slit trench." I went across, and just as the plane went over, and I jumped over and straight down to the trench. And I'm not knocking him for this, but he was just a gibbering idiot. He was crouched up at the end like this, and he's shaking. He just couldn't talk. Well, you can't knock a man for that, I mean. You know, but he should never have been an officer. Different things that went on that, and he should never have been in control of men. Anyway, I got out and I said to my mate, who happened to be Don Kennedy, I said, "Come on, we're going to shift this bloody truck, whether we're allowed to or not." So we got into it after one plane had gone over, run down across the bloody tennis courts, and then back across, we're halfway across the tennis courts, and the plane came over again. In Singapore, they got drains like that in between each court. They're like a half-hewn pipe to take the water away. God, you could just about get down level with it. We've flattened ourselves in this, but we felt it was sticking up this far, and you could hear as the bullets went